Welcome into the program, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. We appreciate you listening. Today is a Tuesday. It is the 12th day of May in the year of our Lord, 2026. Like I said, I hope you're having a great morning, and I hope the last 21 hours have gone well as well. I'm here making sure we can broadcast to as many people across the world as is possible. Big Sky Mountain Mosley making sure that everything goes well. You can find us over at YouTube as well. It looks like we're moving up a little bit in the search results. I had to look something up yesterday, and lo and behold, it was easier to find. Not perfect, but check for Scott. Go to YouTube, check Scott Beason, and then we should be streaming. We had a couple of issues yesterday, but look, we're trying. At one time, it was like you never, ever going to be able to hear it on the internet. Now you can hear it on the internet more easily. So go check us out and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff, and just keep hunting for it. Go down, you'll see a picture of me wearing a white, like a golf shirt or whatever, and that's the one. And then click on live, and you'll be able to hear and listen live. And it works really well once you get there, and once I actually turn the microphones on. Yesterday, I went a segment or two without a microphone on because it had adopted a different one, but now I have a checklist every morning to go make sure some are off, make sure some are on. Scott, you shouldn't have to do that every day. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Sky's got one as well.
Trusty checklist.
You just have to do those things, and that's what we're doing. I appreciate you being here. Big news in the state of Alabama, also big news across the country. The United States Supreme Court has given the green light to, well, let's give credit where credit is due. Steve Marshall has he fought the fight. He's the Attorney General in the state of Alabama. He took the redistricting case to the Supreme Court. You know, the little three-judge panel had ruled, et cetera, et cetera. And here is the story at 1819. Also, we'll go over some national coverage of it. Caleb Taylor, Alabama was vindicated in a recent redistricting ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court, according to Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall. The Supreme Court struck down a 2023 federal court-ordered Alabama congressional map on Monday. The ruling could allow Republicans in Alabama to pick up at least one congressional seat in the 2026 midterms. Republicans currently have a narrow majority in Congress, and redistricting battles are happening in multiple states across the nation. A special master hired by a three-judge panel in Birmingham. By the way, the special master was a Democrat. Don't you just love that? Oh, we're the federal judges, and we, who can not only see into your heart, will hire someone to draw a map, and it will be perfectly fair because we're going to get an old Democrat to draw it, and he will not be biased because all he cares about is fairness. That will be all. You may return to your miserable little lives. That's kind of how it is. People are shocked, but y'all, and I know I'm not supposed to say on the radio, you and y'all, and I do it way too much, but y'all don't understand how arrogant and condescending a lot of federal and state judges are. You don't get it. And look, I don't blame you. I didn't used to get it either until I had to deal with some and know some. And look, there are some judges who are just as normal as me and you, okay? And just good folks. But it is very difficult. There's a reason that, who said it? Acton, that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. There is no office you can hold where you are praised and groveled before like a judge. And it takes a special person. I like to say, like if there's a man judge, Sky, and he's still humble and normal, that means he has a great wife who, like, when he comes home and she's like, I don't care if you're the judge or not, take out the garbage.
String him out.
And she gives him a hard time. She's not being disrespectful, but she keeps him humble, where he realizes, hey, you're like everybody else. You're doing the Lord's work. It is your job to try to stay humble and make rulings based on what the law is and be legitimate. So don't get the big head, because on top of that, because of your enhanced position and responsibility, you're probably going to face stronger judgment at the end of time before God than everybody else is. So you might want to tone it down a little bit, brother. That is a rare thing. And look, I understand it, but sometimes the judges have to realize, and this is my advice to judges, okay? And I have some good friends who are judges, and some of them I think do great jobs. People aren't groveling before you because they think you're wonderful. When you die, they're going to grovel in front of the next person. If you were not reelected, they're going to grovel in front of the next person. The person running against you that you think is an idiot and your friends think is an idiot and all the lawyers tell you is an idiot, if he or she wins, they're going to grovel in front of that person, because y'all work in an environment where an opinion matters. Is the judge mad at me? Did the judge think I was being disrespectful? Did the judge not like what I wore? Did I not give to the judge? Did the judge his friend has a nonprofit that helps stray cats? Did I give to that? Does he know I gave to that? I hope he knows he gave to that, because in case everything's even, I hope he rules on my client and instead of the other person's client. And I play golf with the judge, and the judge is terrible at golf, but I just always have some extra balls and I throw them out and say, Judge, I found your ball. Does he know I do that for him? All this kind of stuff, because that's the way it works. I mean, there's almost no other place in the world, in America especially, where you're just like, man, please be on my side, than judges. And that's how it creates this weird, grotesque thing. One of my friends, I won't say who it is, and somebody could piece it together. I get it, but I'm bragging on him, because the story goes, before he became a judge, all the lawyers and folks didn't want him because they were comfortable with the judges they had. End up with this guy becoming a judge, and then lo and behold, within like a year, they're like, man, we love that guy. Well, why do you love that guy? And you know what they said? Because he treats all the lawyers the same.
That's a judge.
And he's fair.
That's it.
And so the judges, the lawyers literally liked him. Now think of how weird this is. Think of the fact that they're shocked that a judge is not partial to this lawyer versus that lawyer. And they're like, even the judges who had the better deal are like, you know what, that's fair. I can live with that. Because they're always trying to hedge their bets to be the most liked,
sure,
worried that they may be the least liked and be on the unfair end of where they're getting the fair advantage. They don't want the unfair advantage or the disadvantage.
It's the same way with umpires in baseball. Just call them the same way.
Just call balls and strikes on both teams, and you'll be the most popular guy there is. But note that was an oddity.
Yeah, that's the sad part. Is this the end of Reconstruction? Point 2. I noticed what the Attorney General said. His statement: for too long, unelected federal judges have had more say over Alabama elections than Alabama voters. Mm-hmm. That ended today. Is that it?
It goes a long, long way. Now, I will go ahead and tell you that the liberals and the Marxists are going to try every hook and crook to hang on to what they have. But this was a huge blow, and I do have I'm still mad that we went through. And look, Steve Marshall needs tremendous credit, okay?
Right.
Steve Marshall deserves an award. Steve Marshall didn't have to go out and stick his neck out. Steve Marshall didn't have to file all the things he's done. He didn't have to fight all the fights. And the reason I know that is because we've gone through attorney general after attorney general after attorney general after attorney general who have known in their heart, because I've had some conversations with them, that a bunch of this Voting Rights Act stuff was unconstitutional. They've known it.
60 years of this.
And they never would carry even the argument of, hey, look, you can't make us do this and you don't make New Jersey do this. That's absolutely unconstitutional. You can't have a law for one state or one group that you don't have for everybody. Now, you can make all of them do it, but you don't. And no one, and across a lot of southern states, no one wanted to do that because why? Because it'd be called racist.
Jim Crow is what we're experiencing now.
Exactly. And they didn't want to be the one for that to happen to. So Steve Marshall deserves a tremendous amount of credit, and we'll go through this whole thing at length. You don't want to miss it because you're going to want to know, because you want to be able to explain it to your friends and neighbors, people you like, people you don't like. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. We'll be right back.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Welcome back in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and I am Scott Beason. Thank you for listening, and I see some folks up there on the phones, but we're going to go through this. I have no idea what that is, Sky. Did you hear the bleep? I can't figure out which computer is listening, and there is a key word that I keep saying that causes it to go bleep. It's where it's
today.
Listening or something. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not, but it's driving me absolutely insane. But we'll work on that. The couple different stories. Let's keep doing this one. So the Supreme Court struck down the 2023 federally court-ordered Alabama congressional map. It will allow Alabama to pick up at least one congressional seat. The legislature went back and said, well, we're just going to go back to the old map, 6 Republicans, 1 Democrat. Look, I have 2 different positions on it. One is, yay, you showed some backbone. Yay, good. Now, look, I literally, yay, good job, because they didn't have to do that. Now, did they do, will we make movies about them? Will we sing tales of their courage and bravery and stuff, 50 years from now? No, because they didn't go and draw districts that just got rid of every Democrat seat. Well, we don't want to be unfair, Scott. Okay. Yeah, and you're still going to get bashed. You're still going to be called racist. They're still going to go out there and tell people that slavery's about to restart. They're literally telling people, tell me if I'm wrong, Sky, they're literally telling people that black Alabamians aren't going to be allowed to vote. No. It is
Jim Crow is back.
Yes.
It's all that.
It's amazing.
It's disgusting.
It really is.
Shameless.
It's the most painful thing ever.
Race baiting.
And we've gone through it a bunch of times. That if all 6 seats, and they could be, because Republicans vote this way, by the way, they could all be held by black American, and the Democrats would still whine that black Alabamians don't have representation, which means you have to understand. No, people have to understand, not you. People have to understand that it has nothing to do with race. It's about whether the people holding that seat are solid Democrat votes. That's all that matters. It's like the one in Tennessee that Sky mentioned.
In Memphis, yes.
The Democrat that they're all like, oh, we're not going to have representation, is an old white guy.
Named Cohen.
Cohen,
yes.
Really?
Yes,
you
really.
can't get much more white than that.
I know, but it's disguised as racism.
Cohen.
It's all about holding those Democrat seats.
Cohen Kyle Karminski.
Yep. And he's whiter than you, man.
And his initials are
You got it.
Well, I mean, that's the party of that.
But they're
that
playing
group.
it just like, disenfranchisement of blacks and all this. And the guy's white as he could be.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Republican representation, then there's no say, which is an admission that they utilize the black vote in America purely for Democrat power.
Yeah.
And which president was it that said the very racist thing that we'll have those people voting for us for 200 years?
Lyndon Baines Johnson.
LBJ didn't say those people, though, did
No,
he?
he didn't. He said a
He
racial
said a bad
slur.
word. He said the hard R, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I know we don't
And you
study
can find
that.
it on tape. That is, that's not rumor or speculation. That's a fact.
No, it is a fact, an absolute fact. So Steve Marshall's statement was, my job in this office was to put the legislature in the best possible legal position to draw a congressional map that favors Republicans. 7-0. Steve Marshall, nice job. My office has never taken the charge of our state motto lightly. We dare defend our rights. Stay tuned, Marshall said. Now that's strong. Steve Marshall is running for the U.S. Senate. I've always said that people who fight the fight should get credit, and he is fighting the fight. There's no doubt
He's
about
out front.
that.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of people who want to hold office who may be the greatest people in the world, but if they aren't proven yet, I worry about them. Like, look, Donald Trump's one of the few that said, hey, I'm a businessman, put me in there, and then continued to be a bull in the china shop. I have personally seen tremendous numbers of men and women. Hey, send me to fight the fight. I'm a businessman. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm an Army guy. I'm so-and-so. And then when people start talking bad about them, people start being mean to them at the Wally World, people shun them at the ballpark, won't speak to them on Friday night, they come back to the legislature weak as water because it's tough. I mean, when half the people are mad at you, it is a tough position to be in. And some people can do it. Donald Trump can do it. Some people cannot do it. Marshall's been taking the beatings and fighting the fight. Barry Moore, been fighting the fight, solid member of the Freedom Caucus, also running for the U.S. Senate. And that's one of the blessings we have, some proven guys running for office. But Marshall deserves a lot of credit because some states have willy-nilly rhino attorney generals, and it doesn't matter what the legislature does. It doesn't matter what the governor says. It doesn't matter what the people want. The AG won't do their jobs, and the state ends up losing. So Steve Marshall deserves a tremendous amount of credit for this, so bully for him. But the Democrats never, ever are out. Listen to this story about Andrea Tinker. You can find it over at the AlabamaReflector.com. I'm not super familiar with it, but considering how it's written, I would imagine it is a left-leaning publication here in the state, at least leaning. In the redistricting fight, and this is from this morning, okay, Alabama Democrats and civil rights groups turned to a state amendment. Amendment 4, enacted in 2022, bans election law changes 6 months prior to an election. Last week's special session started past the deadline. Are we going to end up with a thing where Republicans passed a bill in 2022 and we all voted on it because we all vote yes on these constitutional amendments because Republicans are doing them, right? Just like we allowed them to recodify the whole Constitution. And they had changes in it, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we had conservative groups out there saying, yeah, we need to do that. And I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. You know what got me about it, Sky? Is that some of the groups, and I'm talking to them on the phone. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? They're like, oh, no, Representative so-and-so said it was fine. I'm like, have you read it all? And they're like, no, have you? Have you, Scott? I'm like, no, I don't have to read it all. I know who the sponsor is. I know who's trying to pass it. And there's no chance in Hades that they're trying to pass something that does nothing.
Oh, it was to get rid of the racist language,
That's
Scott.
Exactly right. And they got rid of one of the things they got rid of was making prisoners work because that was like slavery.
Yeah.
But
dishonest.
But it had some other changes in it too. But that's a different thing for another day. But they're claiming, and the Southern Poverty Law Center is right there, that constitutional amendment says you can't make changes. They may have an argument too.
I think they do.
So I've got an answer to that. Y'all aren't going to like it, but it's called having backbone, and it's called playing ball, playing hard ball. And if they want to play ball, then we need to play. And if you have to go back into special I won't talk about it on the other side. Just hold your thought, hold your horses. We got to take a break, and we will be right back.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Welcome back in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason. Thank you for listening. So the big news across the state of Alabama and across the country is that the Supreme Court has put a green light out for Alabama and its redistricting plan. All the details of the ruling I haven't looked at. Is what matters on top. Steve Marshall, the Attorney General of the state, says, hey, look, you know, what was his statement exactly, Sky? Clears the way for 7-0, put the legislature in the best possible legal position to draw a congressional map that favors Republicans 7-0. Now, I still have the same advice, which is throw out all of the racial data out of the databases. You don't need to know. Y'all don't need to know who's black, who's white, who's Hispanic, who's whatever. Throw it all out. Draw the maps based on political results, turnouts. And create 7 Republican districts. That's what you do. Now, here's the funny part. It looks as if the Southern Poverty Law Center, they have plenty of time on their hands because they're not, you know, allegedly sponsoring white supremacy
Some
groups.
of their business ventures have been curtailed.
So now they're like, wait a minute, now we got to fight the Alabama legislature again, and here we are. This is how we started. So they're on a roll, and they're saying that, according to this article, Jerome Dees, is he kin to Morris?
He's got to be.
Got to be. Policy director for the Southern Poverty Law Center of Alabama said the bills will go against the state constitution. Whether or not a voter is in a particular district has an impact on the general election, whether or not a potential candidate is in a particular district, blah, 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 blah. Okay. It is entirely possible that, yes, the Alabama legislature, a Republican-sponsored bill, and I found the bill. I don't know what the purpose was. Maybe we needed more laws, but they did it, put it out for a constitutional amendment. Maybe they were afraid Democrats were going to do something someday. But, yeah, they said we can't change election law within 6 months of an election. So they could have a problem there. Now, I've been doing my June was 1, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, so you would have had to been... Now, here's the bad part, Sky, and I'm not alleging anything. We could have done this earlier. How many weeks have we been talking about it? Okay?
Yeah.
And we kind of should have had it ready ahead of time. We were talking during the whole session, but, you know, we got to do what the court says. Maybe I'm a whisk. But I find it fascinating that the special session wasn't called until the time... this 6-month time was up, okay?
So that's before the general election.
Before the general election.
Oh,
right.
That's close. Oh,
yeah.
November.
Now, here's what I think possibly could have happened. I'm not saying it did. I don't think Governor Ivey had any idea. I'm not saying she did. But I would not bet money, okay, because I'm afraid I would lose the bet, that someone in the administration knew, because I've seen this kind of stuff. I've seen a staff member do something that a governor didn't know, or a governor didn't understand the whole situation. The staff member says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it till Tuesday. We'll do it Tuesday. And you're like, why do you care so much about Tuesday? Because lobbyists and lawyers and everybody are always working. And I'm just saying, don't bet your last dollar that somebody in the administration didn't know that this 6-month time limit was setting out there. Okay?
Right. Well, apparently the math comes out to going to miss it by
A day
less
or
than
two.
a week.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a week. Yes. Now,
Man.
here's what I tell what my advice would be if I was in the legislature and that happened. I'd go to the governor and I would say, look, I would ask all these people, hey, is this what you really want to do, SPLC? Ask the SPLCs, SPLC SPLCs. Ask the SPLCs, are you this what you want to do? Ask the Democrats, this is what you want to do, right? We're going to fight. We're going on Amendment 4, right? Yes, absolutely. Go, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Governor, we need to call a special session. I need 2 things in the special session. One is we're going to repeal Amendment 4 from 2022. Second thing we're going to do in the special session, we're drawing 7 Republican districts.
Go for it.
Because y'all want to fight this fight. We're doing the 7. Thank you. I don't know why you did it. Why didn't you just take your 1? Look, if you want to, we'll go to court right now, Monday, and we'll go to the judge. And all you folks at the Southern Poverty Law Center and all the other groups, y'all consent to, this was extenuating circumstances and the court the court messed up the date. You can always blame everything on the court. They'll run your Constitution over in a heartbeat. So let them run it over, okay? And then let all the lawyers go, you can't do that. It's the law. But no, that's not the way y'all play. And let them consent to, there was unforeseen circumstances, whatever. But if they don't want to do that, and that's the dangerous one, because then the ACLU or somebody will come in afterward and say, we didn't have part of the deal. But have the special session, repeal this amendment, or have an amendment that lets you out of it for one time, whatever you got to do. Be careful with it. And then also draw the 7 districts and have a whole new set of primaries if you need them, okay? And just move forward. Scott, we don't have enough time. Well, the state of Virginia, from the time the governor signed that cockamamie constitutional amendment to try to redo their redistricting, 74 days from the day it was signed to the day they had the election, okay? So you just tell the court, hey, Virginia, just point at Virginia. Virginia did it. Virginia did it in 74 days. Their voters were smart enough to do that. Our voters are smart enough to do that.
Can be done.
If you pass the thing by June the 1st, something like that, you would have your election, your constitutional amendment, August the 14th. Now, people will say, well, that's too late. That's too late, Scott. You got judge so-and-so. You said you got to have so many weeks before. Okay. Well, guess what? Massachusetts' last Republican primary is September the 1st. And we love to reference New England states, don't we? Because they're the
so
best.
Smart.
Right. And then when we have our 7 Republican seats, remember, we're going to call it the New England model.
Exactly. Yeah.
September the 8th is the Republican primary day in New Hampshire. Oh, we're going further back. We're getting closer to November. September the 9th is apparently Rhode Island's.
That's a lot of precedent in mighty New England.
September the 15th is the Republican primary in the great state of Delaware. So there's plenty of time to make this work, and what I'm advising is play hard ball. They play hard ball, and the only way you ever get them to like work with you and get along and all that kind of stuff is if you are willing to play hard ball as well. And you can't go into every one of these legislative meetings and legislative sessions saying how you can't do so-and-so. And here's my last advice for this break, for this segment. Quit letting somebody tell you, well, the court, because you've been told the court, and the doggone United States Supreme Court just gave you the green light. And all our guys can say for weeks and months and months and months and years, the court. While people like myself were, Scott's an idiot. Scott's a radical. Scott don't know.
Well, the legislator did stick a toe in the water, Scott.
They
took a
did.
tentative step.
They were halfway. You know
yeah,
what? You know what? They stepped in the bathtub. They got a bath.
Yeah.
Now their head's still dirty. Their armpits are still dirty, but they're clean from the waist down. They're sitting in the tub, not dumping any water on the head. Turn on the shower.
Yeah. Let's get wet.
Let's just get all in, right?
Right.
Oh, so we got. Anyway, it's a good day. We're celebrating, but the left is moving, and unless somebody tells me, I need to hear more about this. And I know this is a leftist article because I don't see the but or I don't see so and so says or whatever, but the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center, all those folks are moving. So we gotta be aware. We gotta take a break. Let's don't go anywhere, and I'll get to your phone calls after this.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovery.
Welcome back in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason. We appreciate you listening to the program, and we appreciate you telling other people about it. Big news in the state of Alabama. The United States Supreme Court has basically said, hey, yeah, y'all can do your districts like Louisiana and everybody. I mean, you got to do your own district. That's what the Constitution says. I know that people have banked whole political careers on things that are unconstitutional. I get it, and I know that people don't like it, but that's the way it works. And let's be honest, the reason I have suggested that we call drawing 7 Republican districts in the state of Alabama the New England model, as Sky has aptly pointed out, the New England states, many of them have large Republican populations, and they get almost no representation in Congress because the party in power draws the districts, and they don't want the minority party to have representation in Washington, D.C., and therefore Republicans don't get congressional seats out of those states. But see, in Alabama, we have to be good people, have a couple of Democrat seats. Well, no, Scott, it's not about Democrat seats. It's about minority representation. Well, that's what I just said. I just said that you don't have minority representation up in the New England states. Yeah, but that's a different minority, Scott. That's not a minority. That's a minority as in fewer people minority. That's Republicans. We don't protect Republicans. We only protect racial minorities. That's what we do. But what about if you have a racial minority that only votes almost all completely Democrat? Then you're really protecting Democrat seats, right? No, we're not. My favorite federal judge in Montgomery is probably dying. He's made a career ruling the opposite way of what the United States Supreme Court has told the states, finally fixing decades of abuse. And fascinating. Let's go out to Rooster. Rooster, welcome to the program.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Rooster, how are you?
Hey, I'm getting better, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Another day in paradise. I'm celebrating. Look, when you celebrate the wins you get.
Yeah, you sound good.
Thank you.
Listen, I heard you when you mentioned something about, you started talking about these amendments to the Constitution of the state.
Yes.
None of them are real, man. They never follow the law to put them in. It takes 4 steps. The Constitution's not that easy to amend.
Okay.
To where we got 1,000 amendments, because you got to do 4 steps.
All right. What are they?
The first two have to do with getting permission to amend it. You have to pass an act of the legislature, and in the act it requires the Secretary of State to hold an election. And the election on the ballot, it will say convention or no convention. Now, anytime the legislature is meeting and they got the Constitution on the table for them to be talking about changing it, that makes it a convention on the Constitution.
Okay.
Now, they cannot write an amendment till they have done that. And if the people say no, then they can't do it. And if the people say yes, then they can do it, and they should. And when they get done with it, there'll be another election. And, if the people say they can do it, then there'll be another act of the legislature. That's step 3. And then step 4 would be another election where the amendment itself is on the ballot, and the people can vote on it, and then the governor don't have to sign it. Okay. Now, what's going on is they've just been doing the last 2 steps for years and years and years and years. And the most egregious one they've done was in 1973. They threw our entire judicial branch out and rewrote a brand new one with a title of nobility in it for the Bar Association and the lawyers. Mm-hmm. And all the lawyers in the legislature, none of them would recuse themselves. They went on with this evil thing, and they did it. And ever since, even before that, they were doing that. And what they're trying to do is they're going to dirty it all up, like you were talking about the bath, taking a bath a while ago. You know, they get the Constitution all dirtied up with all these phony amendments to where you can't understand it anymore, and then throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's what they're doing. And, you got to go back to before they codified it, you know, it used to be all those amendments were in the back of the book, but now they got them scattered all the way through the document, and it makes it hard to understand. And so this is what's going on, and these are evil traitors to our state and our nation that do this kind of crap. And you were in there too. You took the oath of office. So did you break the law too? Did you break the law too?
I'm sure I did. If you're saying that voting for a constitutional amendment before having a convention is against the law, my answer would have to be yes.
Well, then
So you didn't
need to
catch me on
repent.
that one, did you?
You need to repent.
You know, you're right about that, because I'm going to go back and see. I got to find, and if you find it, Rooster, find me the place in the Alabama Constitution, because I thought it said you could do a convention or a legislative process. But I'm not doubting you. I mean, look, we've had on the show the thing about running up the state debt, and you're not supposed to be able to do that. But we just made up new names and did it. We got to take a break, Rooster. You're welcome to hang on. We'll be right back after the break.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politician.
to Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Welcome back in, everybody. Alabama Unfiltered Radio. Hey, don't forget our friend Brian Dawson and his podcast, 1819 News, the podcast. If you want to listen to a podcast that will make you the center of attention at the next gathering, whether it's at your family gathering, maybe over the 4th, or at a church event, or even at the ballpark, you might want to listen to Brian Dawson's podcast from last week. I listened to it while we were traveling, and it deals with the issues that we have kind of talked about on this program, which is the Israel's place in Scripture. And it is a strong, strong podcast. Check it out. You don't have to agree, of course. But it's funny when Brian starts it, he's like, look, this is something I've been avoiding. But as we've said on this show, a lot of people talking about these things. And he's got with Pastor Lusk with him, who's unbelievably smart. So you might want to check it out. It's interesting. You don't have to agree, but there's some very interesting discussion there. Check it out, 1819 News, the podcast. You can find it over at YouTube or any of the other places where you usually find your podcast. So is Rooster still on? Did he want to finish up?
I believe so. Let's check in with Rooster.
Hey, Rooster, you still there?
Yeah, man.
If you ever get a chance to find me the wording that you're talking about in the Constitution, because, look, I got there and already had a gajillion million state amendments and all that kind of stuff. I would love to see that. I mean, I could hunt it down, but I'd love to see where it requires the Constitutional Convention part, because every place I've searched real quickly on the interwebs says you can have the legislature call, but that doesn't mean that's what it originally said.
I got it in front of me, Scott.
Okay.
It's Article 18, Section 286.
All right, hold on.
Now,
Article 8.
hold
Hold on. Article 18, Section 286. Okay.
Now, the title of the article is a singular. It's not plural.
Okay.
It says mode of amending. It's not modes. It's just mode. It's just one way.
Okay.
And there's 4 steps. Now, the amendment they did in 1973 was number 328.
Okay.
And they threw the whole judicial system out. And this thing, so now the whole state government is illegitimate from this trouble that they've done. And now the United States Constitution in Article 4 says that the United States guarantees to the state a Republican form of government.
Yes.
Now, we don't have a Republican form. We got democracy run amok.
Okay. Well, I'm going to check it out, man. That's what I really wanted to know. I don't have time to do it with you on the air right now, but I'll look it up for you.
Hold up. Ann Eubank has a copy that I sent to her.
Okay.
This whole thing with the Constitution, and she was supposed to make you a copy and give it to you, but I guess she has not done it.
I was gone last week, and so she probably will. Now, the reason I don't doubt you is, as I've brought up before, general obligation bonds or general obligation debt is supposed to require a vote of the people in the state of Alabama. The legislature came along at some point in time and said, well, we're not doing a general obligation bond. We're doing a revenue bond. And you're like, wait a minute now. So that's like me saying, I'm not doing a general obligation mortgage on my house. I'm doing a revenue bond mortgage on my house. Is it a mortgage on your house? Yes. Is it the same thing? Yes. So I think there's a very good chance that I'm going to, as Bob Riley used to say, I'm going to be in agreeance, but I haven't seen it yet. And Rooster, I'll check it out, and I'll check with Ann too. She's probably going to be in maybe tomorrow to talk about some of the things that are going on. So I appreciate you, buddy.
All right, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Look, it would not surprise me in the slightest if the state constitution doesn't say what he's saying.
And they've been lawyer balling their way around it
probably these 75, 80, 90 years. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I've told y'all before, when I asked one of the attorneys general about the general obligation bond thing, he said, Scott, please don't go run out there with that.
Well, bring that up. What are you doing? You're killing us.
You're killing us. Let's go Charles I of Dewey. Charles I, welcome to the program. I hope you are well.
I'm good, and I want to say I really, really think a lot of Pastor Lusk and what he says, so anybody needs to go listen to that. He's a very brilliant
Have you listened to it, Charles I?
I've listened to some of it, and he really is on point, and I've listened to him throughout the years with, he's Amy Beth's pastor. Yeah. And I've listened to lots of programs. He's written books and everything, and he really knows what he's talking about, especially spreading Christendom across, and not just saying this is the end of times. I love he says that, okay?
Gotcha.
Now, I ask questions, and I ask this question right here. Okay. Why would the Trump-appointed 3-judge panel be saying there's intentional racism? Got me? And why would the Supreme Court kick it back? And how would the legislature listening to you about what to do make any difference? Guess what I found out?
What did you find out?
You can look this up, what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
The court used this standard. It's called the Arlington Heights Framework.
Okay.
That's what they based it. It's from a 14th Amendment case that federal judges use to see if there's any 14th Amendment equal protection violations going on. And it's a highly sensitive way of looking at it. That would mean any legislator that in the 2023 session that did anything remotely sensitively that could be construed as discrimination, it could be used. Did you get me with that right there?
Oh, no, I got you. Now, wait. I want people to note that's one of the reasons, I'm guessing, that they went out and pitched a fit and got their buddies in the OAL.cons and all that to say, Ledbetter's trying to get rid of the 14th. He's a racist. Because they need any little thing. And I've been in some of these depositions before, Charles the First of doing it, when we were doing the voter ID. And they start asking you all kinds of crazy questions. Like, have you ever, what about this? Did it one time, if somebody pulled out in front of you and it happened to be, did you ever think, I mean, and you're like, what are y'all talking about? This has nothing to do.
Well,
oh, no, they can see into your soul.
Well, get ready, because here's the difference in our special session that we just had and what makes the 2023 one different.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you what happened. You can research it yourself, okay?
Okay.
And because it's going to give them flame if they know it.
Okay.
But here it is. Other things were allowed to be brought up then, not just mapping on that special session.
Okay.
Have you got me there? So they used that whole thing no matter what was brought up. They use any type of discriminatory intent shown by any legislator that got up to promote any bill to be showing that the legislature of Alabama has discriminatory intent. Have you got me?
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the senators, the main one that did not want any difference given to his area, no matter what, who was very vocal about it, that was noted in all this. Have you got me? He's the very same one that they could use as being a very discriminatory person in a sensitive, like anything that you could construe. You got me? Just like what you were saying. It didn't have to be racially motivated. Any type of discrimination shown that could actually even in any way make a air of discrimination be in the air of the legislative hall. You got me?
No, I got you. I understand completely. If they can find somebody to claim as a racist, then it doesn't matter if he has anything to do with the legislation. There's a racist in that legislature, and that racist might have voted for it.
Discriminatory action.
Correct.
Discriminatory action taking place.
All right, hold that. We got to
look,
take a break, man. We got to take a break. Hold that. We'll have it on the other side. We'll be right back.
Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Welcome back in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason. Don't forget the number here, 1-800-289-9228, 1-800-289-9228. The big story of the day is the United States Supreme Court ruling in the state of Alabama redistricting thing, or at least saying, hey, look, y'all can go on. You're not going to be hampered by the lower court. Steve Marshall, the Attorney General, celebrating, and he should be given credit for the work he has done on this, so congratulations to him. It's fascinating stuff, and I'm going to go back to Charles I of Doughty. Charles I, welcome back in, and anyway, go ahead and finish your thought.
Well, if they what they did by not doing what you and I have been suggesting and making a whole new map is they allowed all the paperwork from that decision to still be used now by the lower court, which would not have necessarily occurred. Do you follow me, Scott?
No, I do. Now, the lower
they allow
court...
all the accusations.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, but the lower court now has to... the lower court has kind of gotten smacked a little bit. So my guess is the lower court right now is going to be like, hey, we got to chill for a little while. Now, moving in the future, they need to do what we have advised and take out. Now, look, that's not going to help completely when it comes to the whole Arlington Heights, whatever they call it, test that they've been using for decades and decades, because that thing is a whole nother show explaining what I've tried to say very, very simply. When I say that federal courts believe they can look into someone's soul and decide what their intention was, and people are like, Scott, that makes no sense. If you look at the Arlington Heights test or whatever they call that thing, framework, you indeed, a person would indeed see that the court just comes up with all sorts of drivel about, well, it doesn't even have to be. We just think, if we say the results of legislation seem to be racially causing a challenge in any way possibly, then we can say it's based on racism and then throw it out. I mean, it is the most convoluted, made-up mess. And I've used the example before, Charles I, and I think this was a legitimate case. Somewhere somebody changed the speed limit in a part of town because it was dangerous. And someone took it to court and got the speed limit changed because the judge said that the speed limit had been changed in the minority part of town And since it was changed in the minority part of town, more minorities got speeding tickets, and it was all based on racism to give the minority speeding tickets. And therefore, even though everything was done right legislatively, I've decided as a judge that it must have been based on racism, and therefore changing the speed limit in this little town was racist and unconstitutional. And people think, that can't be, Scott. Oh, yes, it can be. And that's the kind of stuff that happens. Now, was it dangerous? Yes, but nobody cared. Again, another example of the court system not really caring about the lives of the minority population. They just want to be seen as virtuous, and I'm fighting racism. I'm a good fighter of racism. And so I'm with you when it comes to your sensitivity on, hey, look, they don't need to be giving them any ammunition or leaving any ammunition, because this framework thing is deeply embedded in the federal court system. And I don't think these recent Supreme Court rulings is going to stop the lower courts from yanking states and counties and cities around for a while. They're still going to try to do it. I think they're going to have to be told more than once, cut it out. And so I'm agreeing with you on that.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. That was a great analogy for what was happening and what is happening. And I also wanted to say that I think you're right about the Governor Ivey's office and somebody. That's what happened. Gina did that with funding at the very last minute and sent something over and had it where, we don't have time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing, I wanted to agree with you wholeheartedly about Steve Marshall. I think, either one, Barry Moore or Steve Marshall will be good. But I'll have to say, Steve Marshall does have that backbone and get in there in every single instance. He absolutely takes up for us. I've never seen one that he didn't. I've never seen him not go on a big scale in our nation to put forth whatever it is that we as Alabamians, hold true.
Yeah.
I mean, do you?
No. I think
that kind of make the edge for me.
Yeah, because there's been some things he would be just as well off to avoid.
Well, and like you said, we got two good, strong candidates. We don't need to go off after somebody that has no experience, in my opinion, right there. But I think it may have gave Steve the edge with me as far as my vote, which I was kind of, teetering between the two of them. But because, Moore is really a quality person in Congress.
He has. He's voted very, very well.
But when I look at Steve Marshall, he does do what you've always say. He has backbone, unlike our, early starting Democrat legislators that may have put 2023s back up there just to kind of still be in their Democrat basic world, if that makes any sense to you there.
Yeah, they still be happy.
I think it does too.
Yeah, they were happy with it for years and years. So
they're still in their little world and not having a backbone. What it is going to take is doing what you said, being blind and drawing maps based only on Republican values, as far as and showing that you did that. That takes care of the whole thing. That stops the whole thing. That puts everybody in a good light and doesn't give any ammo to Democrats in the future to say racism still exists.
I agree with you. Hey, Charles, the first to do any, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the call. Let's go out to
thanks
Clark.
a lot.
Clark, welcome in, buddy. Hope you're well.
All good, Scott. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Hope you're doing good.
No, I'm all good. So I did a little bit of reading, and let's do a definition of ally real quick. That would be a nation or group that cooperates with another for a common purpose.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like the common purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Or someone that gives aid or comfort. Now, I looked up treason as well. The act of betraying one's country by aiding its enemies. Now, lest we forget, we're still in this conflict with Iran.
Mm-hmm.
who are their allies supposed to be? Who are we supposed to think their allies are? China?
We're told every day it's China and Russia.
China and Russia.
Mhm.
You know, to my knowledge, I don't think China has really cooperated with Iran during this thing.
Yeah, they might have given them. They might have
Russia-
given them some information or given them, but they haven't put. As best I can tell, they haven't done nearly as much as we do in Ukraine.
Right. Not a lot of aid and comfort coming from Russia or China there.
No.
Who are Iran's allies right now? The Democrat Party.
Hey, we got to take a break.
And
Don't miss it.
mainstream media.
Clark will be up on the other side. We'll be back.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politician.
Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
We are back, everybody. Alabama Unfiltered Radio. Thanks for listening to the program. Let's go out to your calls. Clark has kind of changed up the stream here. We're talking about Iran now, and who the allies are and are not. So, Clark, welcome back in.
Yes, sir. So, every time the Democrats and really the same, the media denigrate the administration and our efforts, they are giving aid and comfort to Iran. If not for the media and the Democrat Party in the United States, I think whoever in Iran would have capitulated by now.
No, I think you're right, Clark. The only allies that Iran has is Democrats in America and the American media.
Yes.
So my guess is the Iranians are taking the same strategy a lot of people take against the United States, is hold out as long as you can. The Americans will get tired, and our rabble-rousing allies in America will wear them down, and we just have to live long enough for Americans to get tired of it.
Well, go back to Vietnam. Tet Offensive, 1968.
Okay.
That was a big deal, especially you talk to people that were there. That was a big deal. But here's the thing. They came up out of their holes. And we so devastated the Viet Cong and the Tet Offensive that the general in charge of the Viet Cong, not the NVA, but the Viet Cong, was at the point where we're just going to have to quit. We have been so wiped out, we can't keep on. And then Walter Cronkite et al., America cannot win this war. And they're back in it. You think of all the American lives that were lost from 68 to 75 when we left there.
Right.
And that's all on our media.
Yeah. Which is weird because our media is heavily influenced by the CIA and was.
Yes. Well, we're learning more and more that the CIA funded USAID, who's funded the SPLC, who funded the Ku Klux Klan. So I'm sorry, but looks like the Ku Klux Klan works for the CIA, doesn't it? Hey, going back to where you were and the court losses and the setbacks that the left is having.
Yes.
Do you think they're already talking about Summer of Love 2.0?
No doubt.
So they are. Now, look at the way that we handled the situation in Iran. Did we go over there and attack the people on the ground? Did we take the fight to the streets?
No.
We took out leadership, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I pray, dear Lord, that somebody is figuring out how to target leadership if they plan on having Summer of Love 2.0.
I would say that the left and their rhino allies in the United States Senate need to hurry up and get rid of the interim AG, because I think the interim AG has some cojones and seems to be on the ball.
He's doing some things.
He is, absolutely. And so they need to beg the president into getting them another squishmallow, and then maybe they can make some headway with the Summer of Love 2.0, because I'm thinking this guy is he's already working on that list that you're asking about.
There you go.
Yep. Good deal.
And keep doing it.
You got it, Clark. I appreciate you. As for entertainment value, Sky, because Alabama is always an entertaining place.
That's a kind way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? I could bore y'all
Lots
to
of
death.
great entertainers.
There are.
Yes.
In the legislature.
But that's not the kind of entertainment you're talking about.
Good actors.
Right.
Now, I could bore y'all with the kinds of things that I read from time to time. Danielle Lang and J. Gerald Hebert had a fascinating piece from 2018 in the Yale Law Journal about a post-Shelby strategy. exposing discriminatory intent in voting rights litigation.
Oh, boy.
And it is
Yale, you say?
It is page after page after page of how to make anything and everything racist, because North Carolina at the time had implemented a raft, not just a little, just a little bit, but a whole raft full of voting restrictions that were targeting African Americans. So don't forget, Yale still uses African Americans, so they're that stuck in the political correctness that was created and dreamed up in the late 80s. Targeted Black Americans with almost surgical precision. Now, if you want to know what the racism on the left among mostly white liberals is astounding. The fact that they still say that, hey, let me give you the raft of racist stuff here. Voter ID, having to have an ID, limiting early voting. Now, if you say, hey, look, we're going to stop some of this early voting, how is that racist? How does that know what color you are?
It's detrimental to the Democrat Party.
That's exactly right.
That's the truth of the matter.
Hey, look, Scott.
And we all know it now.
We got to drive around and scrounge everybody up in the van and get them down there to the early voting. And mostly we're doing that in black parts of town. And since you're going to cut it out, they do that's who we cart around. And that's racist. Just the fact that they have that they're willing to say, hey, making sure that we know who voted and not stretching these things out is racist has got to be one of the most racist things I've ever heard. But it is just, like I said, page after page after page of, listen to this. The Fourth Circuit's strong language describing the law's surgically precise discrimination caught the attention of courts, lawyers, and the public, shaping the discourse around strict voter ID laws and other recent rollbacks in access to ballot. Access to ballot. What did they do? They included a new voter ID requirement, early voting limitations, which, let's be honest. They should never have had early voting to start with, but you let it get started.
Yes,
and
now
then
it's discrimination.
Now you try to roll it back to the way it always was, and they're like, wait a minute, now you're discriminating. Listen to this. The elimination of same-day registration. You just wander in on voting day and say, hey, I want to register. Well, we don't know if you live here or not. It don't matter. I want to register. And I'm going to vote, and I'm going to get mine in the system. That was also discrimination. Does anybody in Alabama do we get to register to vote on Election Day?
Nor should we.
It's insanity. Yeah. Oh, another rollback of voter access?
Is this more of a stretch?
Out of precinct voting.
Wait. You can't vote outside your precinct. That's
right.
Why we have precincts.
Right.
I believe.
Yeah, so stopping people from, hey, I don't know where I'm supposed to vote was apparently.
So you could just go into any
wander
polling
in.
place?
Yeah, I think this is where I'm voting. Well, I don't think you are. You're not on my list. Racist. But see, here's the thing, and I get it. I get it. And I know that we have a lot of different people with a lot of different melanin listen to this show. There are not any normal, what I say normal, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, whichever minority. Normal people are not out there saying that. It's like the voter ID thing.
No.
Regular Black Americans are like, I've got an ID. Here it is. I drive my car. What are you talking about? I can't get an ID. But it's always liberal white people or activist race-baiting Black people who are in league with the liberal white people. They're the same. Yeah. Always out there saying this stuff. I would be offended. Just like I'm offended when a Yankee says, hey, all those Southerners down there are dumb and don't wear shoes. That ticks me off. So why does it not tick off people when you got the liberal white person saying, oh, no, the poor minority can't get an ID? That would make me lose my mind.
I think it's beginning to take effect.
Well, I hope
Insulting.
so.
It is
It
insulting.
is insulting. It's just, and it's wrong. We got to take a break. Lots of stuff to do. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politician.
Welcome back into the program, everybody. Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason. Thank you for listening. So, other things in Alabama for the third half of the program. Caleb Taylor has a piece over at 1819 News. You're going to love it. You probably actually need to look at it. And I've told you before that Gwendolyn Gavan defended me when I was in the legislature. We got along. She's done a few things to make me angry over the last few years. I'm not even going to say. But well, here's the story. She called the U.S. Supreme Court's Associate Justice Clarence Thomas. She's very upset about the Alabama congressional map going back from 2 Democrats to 1 Democrat. Now, look, I don't understand why they don't see that as a half victory like we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go. If Scott was there, we'd be working really hard to go to full Republican districts, okay, to all 7.
Yeah.
But they're just mad about going back to the way it has been for years and years and years. And I have told y'all don't have to believe me, but I have told y'all how it was when I was there and we were doing redistricting, and we're working with the Obama Justice Department. And we're like, hey, do you like the special district we have over here? Well, we'll check and see. Yeah, everybody's good. We've made sure the congressman's good, and it's fine. Good. Thumbs up. Yay, Alabama wins.
Everybody's
Yay.
happy.
It's all everybody's happy.
Not good enough.
But Gwendolyn is very, very mad. And she criticized Clarence Thomas. Now, Clarence Thomas is a brilliant individual. Clarence Thomas happens to be black. So I would think in a rational world that Gwendolyn and other people who happen to also be black would be proud that Clarence Thomas is on the United States Supreme Court, and Clarence Thomas is logical, reasonable, intelligent, a deep thinker, makes his arguments well-spoken, but they don't like Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas is a bad guy. Clarence Thomas doesn't count. Just because he's black does not count. And you have to ask yourself, and look, there are a lot of Alabamians of every amount of melanin who are like, I don't understand why can't Clarence Thomas, who is black, why can't he be celebrated? Because it goes back to exactly the same problem with drawing these congressional districts. I said it, I'm going to say it 100 times more. If every Republican congressional seat in the state of Alabama was held by a black female, that still would not count as black representation, according to the race hustlers in the state of Alabama. Because what they really want and need at all times is more Democrats. It doesn't matter if they're black. They just need to be Democrats. Now, they use black voters as a tool to get more Democrats, but and they tell them, and they tell us, they tell everybody it's about race and racial representation. It's not. It is about Democrats, because you can't hate Clarence Thomas and never give him credit for being black. And I think he's the one he said one time he's been black his whole life. And diminish Clarence Thomas and then go celebrate Ketanji Brown, who's not logical, who's not reasonable, who's not deep thinking, and who, probably should never have been on the United States Supreme Court, no matter what, and was put there purely because she checked Joe Biden's boxes for how do I get a solid liberal, extreme liberal vote on the United States Supreme Court. We'll go put her on there. Gwendolyn went so far as to she was mad. I'm gonna quote her. okay? So it's got a small, lightweight, old Southern profanity. She is upset that Justice Thomas took part and agreed with the ruling that, quote, would take away 2 damn congressional seats from Democrats. Now, she just said take away 2 damn congressional seats. She didn't say from Democrats.
Of course not.
She says this MFer, this man, now it says MF, I think she actually said MFer. I can't watch the video. I'm giving you the transcript that's written. She posted it on Facebook. This Uncle Tom, I'm so PO'd. She didn't say PO'd. And I said this today. This black man right here, I don't know what kind of black he is. Now, I want y'all to stop a second and think about what people would say or people would think if I said, as Scott,
No.
I don't know what kind of black he is. She said, I don't know what kind of black he is. I don't know what she doesn't say dang, plantation this man came from. I don't know what slave ship he was on. I don't know what part of the slave ship he was on. I've never in my life met a black man who has never done any dang thing at all in the position that he has that would ever benefit black people. And this man is just as dark as I am. First of all, you just peed on the 11th Circuit. You just peed on the judges of the 11th Circuit. You literally have ruled to take away 2 dang congressional seats because that's what's going to happen. You have sided with the Republican Party. You are a freaking straw boss, a dang, replace all these with profanities, Uncle Tom for these people. I just don't get it. I do not say the N-word. You have not ever heard me use the N-word to say it out. I may say Reagan. That's it spelled backwards. But this Reagan right here, this man, I'm telling y'all, this MFer must have been there. He must have been the one who sold us out in Africa. His ancestors had to be the one that sold us out in Africa, that caused us to be chained. I don't understand this man. Today, this man has forever turned the clock. He is the man who has turned us back into the hands of the master. Help me understand this black man right here. Help me understand this crazy ass Uncle Tom. Help me understand this lynch man. Help me understand him. Now, this is unhinged insanity. On top of the fact that Uncle Tom was the hero in Harriet Beecher Stowe's original novel.
Right. She doesn't know that
How
either.
dumb are we in this country? Uncle Tom was, according to AI, was the virtuous, courageous, and saintly protagonist who refused to turn in, I think it was 2 runaway slave girls. He's the guy that took it all on himself instead of betraying the whereabouts of 2 escaped female slaves. And somehow, in our uneducated American system, we have now changed it where calling a black man Uncle Tom is a dispersion.
It's an insult, slur.
A slur. But I'm just like, what? I mean, it just, you can't make this up. When you go into the future and people are writing about this time in American history, I think they're going to be shocked. Is not just by us, how dumb we are as a population, but the caliber and the lack of depth in the thinking of our elected officials is astounding. Absolutely astounding.
I'm here now, and I'm astounded.
I just want to know what the Democrats, what exactly is their desired utopia? How would things be if Gwendolyn was queen for a day or a month or whatever? What exactly does she think Clarence Thomas is keeping her from getting? What would we have? I'm being serious. What
I'm
exactly
thinking. I'm studying pondering the
do
subject.
they want?
It's scary, and
I
have no idea.
I imagine
really don't.
it is more radical than
you
we
could
can
imagine.
possibly imagine.
Agreed.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians. Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Hey, you got to hear this. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. We may have the AG on tomorrow. Yeah, I contacted him on his phone. All right. Welcome back in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. Hopefully, we're trying to hunt down the Attorney General. Hopefully, he can be on tomorrow if we get a chance doing that, and so we can ask him about some of these things that we've talked about for the last couple of hours. That would be an interesting thing. So hopefully, we might be able to do that. Y'all, let's get out to your phone calls before we move on a little bit. I'm the more I read Representative Gavan's comments, the more I'm just like, you can't. I don't understand. I mean, I would like to have a conversation. Maybe I'll reach out to her as well.
Well,
I need to know.
In a rational world is what you began the statement with.
I would love to. I would love to know what their vision is.
Right.
I mean, what do they want America or Alabama to be like?
But you said you can't understand it in a rational world.
Okay.
I don't think it's possible, because that whole statement is completely. It's insane.
So I just
it's
wonder,
angry.
like,
it's filled with all these negative emotions that have nothing to do with reality or a rational world.
I tell you what I think it might be. I'm really thinking, and you kind of sparked a new synapse fired across while you were talking. I'm beginning to think that for some Democrat politicians, well, I shouldn't say Democrats, some black Democrat politicians, that it is literally a scoreboard issue. Okay. That it doesn't. There's not necessarily some dream world. There's not necessarily some legislation that, if we were in charge, we would do all these things and we would pass all these things and we would make the state a better place and we would fix education I'm beginning to think it's not about some end result, some solution to a problem. It is purely checking the boxes. It is purely, you got a little hand counter, the thing you use in track, you've run a lap, click, click, click. What matters is how many folks sitting in a chamber look a certain way. And if you have that, great. Did you ever pass anything? Doesn't matter. Did you ever solve a problem? Doesn't matter. All that matters is some little bit strange version of fairness. Because if you think about it, for a lot of leftists, everything has to be fair. Now, fair doesn't really mean legitimately fair. Fair doesn't mean outcomes that are positive. Actually, I take that back. You can have negative outcomes as long as their definition of fairness is met. Just like it wouldn't be fair if there was more school choice. You're like, how is that not fair? I had a discussion with a Democrat, happened to be a white woman Democrat at one time, and I was talking about school choice. And she said, well, there wouldn't be 10 people in the whole school at so-and-so school, the failing school. Wouldn't be 10 people in that school that would even take advantage of that. And I'm like, wait a minute. Under my plan, I'll give you your 10. 10 kids out of 1,000 leave and go somewhere else and get an education. Okay? Mm-hmm. Under your plan of fairness, all 1,000 have to stay in the failing school. No one gets an education. So you have 100% of the kids, 0. My version gives 10 of the kids, 1%, a chance. So I have 10 positives. You have 0 positives. But in your world, that is better. Every single kid's future is destroyed. Under fairness, mine allows some of the starfish to get back into the ocean, and I'm the bad guy? How did y'all figure I'm the bad guy for saving the ones I can save?
I think you've just discovered the true secret of Marxism.
Is everybody dies.
Everybody suffers equally.
Yes. God. But I'm serious. It never clicked for her. Super nice lady, okay? It never
You
clicked.
keep saying that. But,
Well, they were nice
you know
to
her,
me.
you've met
They
her.
were nice
Okay.
to me personally. How's that?
Okay.
I wouldn't
That
let them
statement does
vote.
not reflect.
I would never let them in the legislature. They're probably great neighbors. But look, there's a lot of politicians like that. Probably fine people to live beside.
Does she really mean what she said in that statement, Scott? Or is that just some anger-driven, emotional?
She voted that way
Okay.
all the time.
I don't
Voted that
understand
way.
it either.
Now
That's
I don't
why I'm
know if
asking
she
these-
would have if AEA had not been the 600-pound gorilla in the room at the time.
Oh.
That might have changed it.
Well.
But they just didn't seem to see, because I'm one of those people like, look, if I can say, because I take up the leftist mantra. Hold on, let me do it. If I could only save one child, it's worth it.
Oh, my heart.
But that only works when they're doing something. Like,
Right. Does she not see the irony in, they talk about disenfranchising voters and black people are being taken back to Jim Crow.
Mm-hmm.
Does she not see in her statement how she is delegitimizing a black man? Clarence Thomas is black.
No, it's because he's conservative. He's not really black.
He's not black.
No.
Okay, I'm out.
To
That's
be
it.
officially black, look, how much melanin you have doesn't make you black, I don't think, anymore.
Then it's not about being black. It's about being Democrat.
Yes, that's exactly right. I think that is part of the definition for some of these people. I don't understand it, but you can have a bunch of melanin but not get your black card. You have to be Democrat and liberal
even
to get the
worse,
black
though.
card.
The worst wrath, you just read it out loud. Uncle Tom sold us into slavery. The worst wrath is for the black man that escapes the Democratic Party and becomes a success.
Yeah. And is independent and is successful and says, hey, look, I didn't need special stuff.
That's a bucket of blue crabs without a lid on it. Sir.
It's unbelievable. And she actually said he would be the ones that sold us out in Africa, that caused us to be chained. I don't understand this man. It's an unbelievable screed. Y'all should go to 1819 News and look for the article. Caleb Taylor has it. It starts with
wow,
crazy eye Uncle Tom. It's amazing. Wow. It really is. I see some folks want to weigh in on this topic. We'll get to them right after this. We'll be back.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering
Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Welcome back in, everybody. Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling people about the program. I think today, if the time will go by fast, I'm only going to have one major error, which was not having Sky on during the last segment on the YouTubes. But still,
What, I got shut out. That was my best segment.
I know you
of
did
the month,
fantastic.
man.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, people have to listen live to get everything. That's what you do. You push them towards the listen live. And if you want to hear the real show, you got to listen over the airways. But, you know, we still stream out what we can. Let's get, by the way, Kay Ivey, according to 1819 News, has called a special election for August.
Uh-oh.
She said there'll be no runoff, which I don't know how you do that in the state of Alabama. But, look.
She's using her supreme majestic authority.
That's what I'm afraid. Look, I don't know.
Man, what is going on?
Okay, because look, I know the governor's not going to come on this program. I get it. But I don't know who gives her advice. I don't know. Look, there are a lot of, when you hire lawyers, you get a lot of Democrats, okay? And you never know. But I told y'all before, I have seen staffers do things that the governor didn't say to do because they have the authority, and then the governor's like, what? They did what? And so, look, I don't know what's happening here. Maybe we'll get the AG on. I don't know how you don't have runoffs in the state. I don't know if her supreme majestic superpowers or whatever allow that. I'm not for not having runoff elections, but anyway. So we'll get to the bottom of it. But apparently she has decided that the special primaries will be for August the 11th. The results from the 1st District, 2nd District, 6th District, and 7th District will be nullified after the August election. So I guess the same people will be on the ballot again. I mean, it's a mess, there's no doubt, but it's not a mess that we caused in the state of Alabama.
Right.
This mess was caused by activists on the left and activist courts who, for decades, have been demanding that racist districts be created. That's all there is to it. Because if you change the wording and you take out minority and you put in white and you read it, people would cringe and crash their cars. Even if you read some of these court decrees, if you changed it out and put white in, you must have you must have a district that will elect a white person. People would go like, but since it's not that, they were okay with it.
That's how you know for sure.
Oh yeah, that's how you know. That's how you really should be judging these things. They have all these tests. What was the test that Charles I brought up first? The framework, not Armistead, but some sort of framework. My version, if they were doing the Beason framework, take your statement, swap the words around, and if you freak out when the words are swapped around, it's not a good policy. Okay? Yeah. If you can't just plug anybody's name in there without dying, it's not a good policy. Right?
If the leftist freaks out, you may have a problem.
Yeah, never mind.
Or anybody. Yeah, I got you.
If you can't put straight white guy in it and it not freak people out, you're okay. It's like the trans thing, or gay thing. It's okay to have a gay scoutmaster. It's okay to have a gay man scoutmaster take your little boys off on a camping trip in the woods by themselves for 2 or 3 days. That's no problem. But if you change the wording around and say, hey, let's send the straight 22-year-old white guy with the Girl Scouts who are 16 and 17 out into the woods for 2 or 3 nights. People are like, oh, heck no, are you out of your mind? That's the craziest thing ever. But you dare not say, don't send the 22-year-old gay guy out with the 16, 17-year-old boys on a scout trip, right? Right? You can say that and get away with it. People are like, oh, because people are afraid. People are afraid to say, no, that's terrible. Because we've been brainwashed into insanity. So let's go out to the phones, and we lost one caller who was on topic, but let's go to the other one. Professor Democritus, welcome to the program. Thank you for listening.
Mr. Beason, over here at Contrarian University, we had Kay Ivy call us, and we gave her the advice you just talking about. Her and Jeannie was on a call together, and we told them what to do right there, and that's how you got it. It's just when we're bad liberal over here. Now, I was going to tell you, Gwendolyn come over and took a class over here in etiquette.
Etiquette?
That's how she was able to, in etiquette, yes, and I was going to inform you about how she was able to say all those things because she got that from Contrarian University. I don't teach that class, but are you ready for the acronym of what she learned in that class?
Yes, sir. Yes, Professor.
Awful, belligerent, justifiable, unilateral, Clarence, awful, Thomas, etiquette. You can only get it here in Montgomery under the bus stop at Contrarian University. Y'all have a wonderful day. Go help us out, okay? Help us.
Thank you, Professor. I want to know, somebody call Gwendolyn and find out if I can start using her phrases.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think I can incorporate into the show? I don't know what kind of black he is. I can't say that.
No.
Well, y'all going I mean, that doesn't seem fair. That does not seem American.
Did she cuss like that when you knew her? Is that standard? 'Cause she let rip with some real choice ones.
Can you all I don't
some
think
George Carlin ones even.
Reagan. I can't.
Yeah.
That's a new one on me.
Yeah,
Reagan.
Man, that whole statement was just
She
off
says
off the
that's
chain, as the kids
spelled
like to say.
backwards, but just Reagan right here. I can't believe. I just can't. Did she put it out on social media? Is there a Thomas
proud of
Jefferson
it.
rule on social media like there is for you? Remember Thomas Jefferson said if you got you're writing a letter to somebody and you're angry about it, you need to write it, put it in the desk drawer, pull it out the next day, read it again before you send it. I think Gwendolyn needs to do that when it comes to her social media post.
Maybe leave it in the drawer for a week.
Yeah, save it and then rewatch it tomorrow.
Give it a little more time.
No, I got it. I'm back to my original thing. Save it and get AI to change it into Scott Beason. And then see if Scott can say it. And if Scott can't say it, you don't need to say it.
Might want to hold that, just keep it in the drawer. Souvenir kind of thing.
Oh, what do they say about Trump? Take his phone away. I'll make a deal. We'll take Trump's phone away if somebody will take Gwendolyn's phone away.
Being mad does not make you right. Being emotionally unhinged does not make you right.
Oh, my gosh. The
Somehow
news
it's become helpful, though.
gets even better. You want to hear the headline?
We
Jim Hoss.
got some hot ones today. So
The Fifth
please.
Circuit out of Texas voted unanimously. I don't know if it's 3-judge panel. I don't know. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has unanimously removed a lower court block that forced Mississippi to redraw its judicial district maps. This is one of the dreams of Myron Thompson out of Montgomery, Alabama, because he doesn't like the Supreme Court system in the state of Alabama. He doesn't like all the justices being elected statewide. So in Mississippi, they went and got a lower court to say they must redraw their judicial district maps based on race. The Fifth Circuit just unanimously overruled that. And now it looks like they may even revisit their state's congressional map.
You don't say.
It is on.
Man, it is rolling.
Wow.
Winning.
The judges vacated U.S. District Judge Sharon Acock's 2025 liability order that demanded the state redraw its 1987-era Supreme Court districts to create a greater black voting strength under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. So the Fifth Circuit said, no,
Can't do that.
can't be doing that.
What'd you say, 1987?
Yeah, it's been in place since 1987, and then they came along and
39.
said, we don't like this. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it for you.
It's been going on way too long.
Reeves,
too
the
long.
governor of Mississippi, said it was a good day for those who believe in the principle that all Americans are created equal, a good day for law and order, a good day for Mississippi. Shoo, they're calling
job.
special session.
Get with the program, Mississippi.
Oh, how do they say it over there? Hotty toddy.
That's it.
We got to take another break. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if I can take it all. We'll be back.
Scott Beason, president of ARP, Alabama Recovering Politicians.
Alabama Unfiltered Radio with Scott Beason.
Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Scott Beason. We appreciate you listening. Last segment of the show. Not a lot of time left. I know there'll be a lot of people want to discuss what happened, and we'll see. Now,
big day.
someone sent me out. I'm trying to find out if he wants credit for doing it, but somebody let me know that they think the legislative, what the legislature passed dealing with this situation is why there won't be a runoff.
That's why the governor.
Yeah,
Everybody
is
just-
announcing that there will not be a runoff because they knew that we're going to have this mess when it comes to the time. And so for this special situation that we didn't cause, the courts caused it, the leftists caused it. I mean, every time we draw a redistricting map, it's always like, I mean, I can write their response. You know what's funny? I can tell you how bad it is in the legislature when it comes to redistricting, all right? If the Republicans drew a map that just gave the whole state away, okay, and no one mentioned it, and you just said, hey, we're voting on Scott's map. It's Senate Bill 428. Okay, all in favor say aye. And we passed it, all right?
Okay.
Within hours, Democrats, the ACLU, the Southern Poverty Law Center, everybody, within minutes, they would say it's racist. They would file suit against it. It needs to be stopped. It's terrible. It's clearly racist. It's awful. Scott's terrible. Everybody's terrible. And then after a few days, somebody would say, hey, here's what the map looks like. And they're like, oh, crud.
Oh, that map.
Yeah, if the Republicans accidentally passed their map, they would still scream about it exactly the same way. They would still file the same suits. Now, once they figured it out, they would try to back off. But I'm telling you, everything was pre-written, pre-done, pre-know. It's like lawsuit by Microsoft, by Windows, you know? Hey, where's the file for this must be a racist redistricting plan. Insert state here. Insert name of legislator here. Insert Republican here.
Conditioned response,
Yes.
muscle memory. Get out the pen. Let's go to cue the outrage machine.
That's,
and
that's
bring it up.
exactly what they would do. They would just run with it. But
Maybe you figured out a way to. No, it never worked. Never mind.
So anyway, and here's another thing, Alabamians, prepare yourself if we try to fix any of these things, which, you know, I think we're kind of locked in now. Maybe we'll fix it next time. But when somebody comes along and says, well, I can't believe y'all are going to spend the money for special primaries. What a waste of money. Alabama's going to waste millions. No, we're not wasting the millions. We're having to spend millions
To fix
to fix what the federal courts have been doing to Alabamians and other Americans for years and years and years. And we're going to have to do it. Mississippi's going to have to do it. Louisiana's going to have to do it. Georgia doesn't have the backbone, so they're not going to have to do it. Just a bunch of states are going to have to try to fix some of these things. And so I don't fall into the trap of, hey, it's going to cost millions. Because you know how many millions it's going to cost to allow the United States Congress to be taken over by a complete team of Democrats? At the state they're in, they are full-on Marxist.
There's not enough money.
And it is going to be awful. And we have to save the republic while we can save the republic. And hopefully the president is going to do some sort of executive order, emergency order that says, hey, you're not going to be cheating in these elections. And you know what's so funny about all this, guy? And God bless the members of the U.S. Supreme Court for having some stones. If they had stones in 2020, we wouldn't be doing all the craziness we're doing right now.
You mean regarding the election?
Regarding the presidential election,
yes.
When states like Texas and others said, hey, y'all, they're cheating in Pennsylvania, they're cheating in Georgia, they're cheating in these places, and we need somebody to straighten this out. You can't just bring in ballots and have truckloads of this and truckloads of that and vans of this, and you're not keeping up with who's voted and who hasn't voted. You don't know what ballots are real, and you ran them all in together so you get the results that you wanted. And the Supreme Court said, no, there's no standing. When the Constitution of the United States, one of the stated purposes of the Supreme Court is when there's a conflict between states. That's one of the stated purposes.
I understand. Yeah, they had all the standing in the world, but that now Trump's second term would be over. And,
yeah.
You never know.
We'll see what happens.
The hand of God works in mysterious ways sometimes.
I mean, the Supreme Court could be there comes a point in time. Look, I said this, I'm speaking out of turn, but this whole show is commentary from me. Someone asked me one time about Richard Shelby, about how late in his career he started voting better. Okay, he wasn't the greatest, most solid vote. I mean, he used to be a Democrat, then he became a Republican because the state was becoming Republican. But he started voting better. And somebody asked me why. And I said, look, I think there comes a point in a man's life, woman's life, whatever, person's life, where they're like, I felt like, I'm speaking for him, I shouldn't, that he reached a point where he's like, we used to play a lot of games up here. And I think we may have passed the time where you can't play games anymore. It's not fun because the train wreck is coming.
Oh, he saw.
That's what I thought. Now, I could be wrong, but he did start voting much more conservatively later in his career. And when I was trying to figure out what has changed, I felt like, he said, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, it was all fun. We're in Washington. It doesn't matter. But then you begin to see, oh, my gosh.
What have I done?
It's not just wrestling.
Yeah.
So maybe that is the case. How much time we got?
About 20 seconds.
Well, I guess I need to say, y'all be safe. We'll do our best to try to be back tomorrow. Be safe, be good. See y'all.